Hello everyone, my name is Youssef Mamou. I'm the founder and co-CEO of Yola Fresh. Yola Fresh is a fresh startup launched 6 months ago, and we inspire to become one of the largest fresh fruit supply chain in Africa. We want to improve the life of smallholder farmers, traditional retailers, and reducing the food wastage. And this can only be done by having an efficient distribution network as well as technology enabled. So I was invited in the Voice of Africa in order to provide a view from a founder or from a startup perspective. And then one of the things that I will be discussing here during the panel would be first, when we want to talk about successful startups that are launching abroad as well, most of the local startups, they would think about Africa and then think about Africa probably as one market, but it is one of probably like the most complicated one because it's fragmented. We have a lot of specificities in each and every country, and then one of the interventions that I will be having is actually probably like to list a framework on how to launch the services abroad, where you need to take care of the cultural differences, you need to take care of the local expertise. You need actually to understand if your solution would be 100% implemented like the local market, home market, or you should be taking part of the home market and then also localize it. And lastly is also what are the kind of cooperation and then partnership that needs to be built locally in order to really build a viable business in those countries. And then the second part of the panel, I'll be much more discussing one of the topics that are kind of taboo, which is the exit strategy. So when we talk about startup, funding a startup, meaning that you need to bring in investors, and investors, they want to chip in to get a return of investment and then get back their capital with profit, of course. And then one of the things that, as a founder or as an entrepreneur, you cannot discount this discussion. So you have to be prepared to discuss this with investors. And then you need already from probably like the beginning or early stage to decide what would be the exit strategy for the investor. Would it be through an M&A, merger and acquisition? And if it's so, then you need to do your homework. You need actually to already probably like define what would be like the proper like acquirers or the companies who are looking for an international expansion, for like an external growth, so that you could be acquired as a company. Also to discuss how the business continuity would be, how this deal would actually be defined, and also probably like discuss the second possibility, which is through an IPO, through an introduction in the stock market, and then understand that this will require a proper governance, this will require you having the right results, having the right governance, and then all the prerequisites to be eligible and then able to be to go through this exit strategy. I was also super lucky before being becoming a founder. It's also like I was investor as well. I was on the other side of the fence, and then probably zillions of very good ideas. So it's super innovative how our youth and then those young entrepreneurs are having as solutions. Probably me. I find myself spending a lot of time discussing with them, and it boils down to a couple of probably like advices. First one, and especially when we are right now in a kind of difficult financial environment, basically launch a startup or launching a startup for the sake of launching it is not viable. So choose the problem you're solving and then try to solve, not to be a painkiller, but to really to cure a disease. So try actually to find the right structural problem and then fix it and then solve it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is super early on. You need to make sure that you are, and then I'm saying you because I'm like discussing with the young founders, to make sure that you are evolving and addressing a deep enough market. So the investors in general, and when we talk investors, we talk funding. So the funding, if you want to attract funding, you can only do it by addressing a super deep market. So a market with a couple of millions of dollars might seem big, but actually at the eyes of venture capitalists or investment funds, it would be seen like extremely small, and then you need to probably take it all or take 3 times the market in order to become viable. So it is also extremely important to make sure that you are evolving in a deep market. And probably like the last advice is resilience. I mean, man, it is difficult. This is a very difficult journey. So you need to really connect it with what you are doing and then the problem you are solving. And it's not going to be easy. Otherwise, probably your idea has already been provided by probably hundreds or millions of thousands of people. But the difference between a successful entrepreneur and successful startup and another one is just the resilience, and then launching it, implementing it, and then making sure that it's working.